welcome to Twisted Metal March Madness. The rules are, this is a one-on-one single elimination tournament. Rule 2, I will be using a combination of my personal opinion, other YouTuber tier list, in-game performance of the cars based on game engine, and the AI to help decide the winners. Now, traditionally these boss characters will be judged based on the boss fight and ROM/Game Shark hands-on experiences with these bosses on how they would match up and perform. No stage is in mind. I will be using a base vanilla idea of a stage with no instant deaths, such as like the rooftops, the blimp fall, the Twisted Metal 4 crane, etc.
Taking a look at the East bracket here with your number 1 seed, Twisted Metal 1 Minion, the final boss of that game, an absolute bastard of the fight. He uses literally every car's special move in the game. Absolute menace. You come down here, you have Twisted Metal 2 Warthog against Twisted Metal 2 Spectre. Obviously these two know each other very well. Club Kid, in a lot of people's tier list, he is S tier, very high on that. As a playable car, again, I've had mixed reactions with them. Very interesting matchup here. A really strong base character from Twisted Metal 4, Rob Zombie, coming in as the 6th seed against my favorite character, Twisted Metal 2, Mr. Slam. Another just weird wildcard character here that could come out and make a really strong run. Super Twisted Metal 4. Crazy health. Awesome special move that would put you in a flame state. Just an absolute unit of a car from that game. You have Twisted Metal 4 Minion, maybe the weakest of all the minions, still grabbed the 2 seed here against Twisted Metal 3 Spectre. I guess we'll see how that matchup plays out. But very interesting bracket here in the East.
So I made a mistake and added Hammerhead from Twisted Metal 1 twice, so the 14th seed is now Twisted Metal 3 Hammerhead. Round 1 matchup. Minion Twisted Metal 1, the final boss, versus Meter Maid, the 1 vs 16. You're going to get 3 judges' opinions. First of all, my personal opinion, an AI generated outcome, and if I need to go to it, I will go to some tier lists to decide who are the ultimate victors of these matchups. My opinion is I don't really think this would be a close fight. Meter Maid to me is a very weak car other than its special move that can take health. Otherwise, across the board, we all agreed that Meter Maid takes the L here. All 3 judges go to Minion. Matchup, we have Super Augur from Twisted Metal 4 against Outlaw Twisted Metal 1. The judges were a little bit more split on this one. The first one went with Outlaw. AI decided Super Augur, in the final deciding vote from the tier list of both games, it goes to Outlaw. It's another just total opposite ends of the attraction here. Twister, one of the most fastest vehicles in the first 4 games against a car like Crusher, who I would argue is a pretty mediocre boss at best. Strength-wise, its armor is pretty much its carrying factor. I did my best to kind of gauge where these two vehicles are as far as like how people view them. Crusher's seen as a very weak vehicle, and in my opinion, I gave my vote to Twister. The AI actually went with Crusher in this one, seeing as it saw it as a very close quarters battle, which I understand, but in pretty much every tier list I saw, Twister took the win. Crusher is just too low down on a lot of those to even like get consideration to move to the next round. This is another pretty tricky matchup here. We have 2 very different cars in very, very different games. You have the Ram damage heavy Twisted Metal 1, where a car like Hammerhead otherwise would pretty much be useless. And then you have Twisted Metal 3 Club Kid, who, because of its special move, I've seen in certain tier lists, people will put this in the S tier along with like Minion. So from a gameplay perspective, you can see these cars are very, very different from their usage. My personal opinion, I'm going with Club Kid. The AI also had Club Kid as the winner. In most of the tier lists I've seen, even though they're very, very similar in tiers in some of these, I've seen people put Hammerhead in the worst tier in Twisted Metal 1. The tier list from my visual output, usually Club Kid was higher, so Club Kid is the winner. Very interesting matchup here in the first round. Mr. Rob Zombie from Twisted Metal 4. This card by default is just disgustingly stacked. Mr. Slam here, one of my personal favorites from Twisted Metal 2. A card that if he gets a hold of you, will just absolutely smash your guts in and just wreck your shit. My personal opinion, I went with Mr. Slam. AI picked Rob Zombie, and from most of the tier lists I've seen in this game as a deciding factor, I hate to do this, but basically people were more high on Rob Zombie than they were Mr. Slam, so Mr. Zombie will advance to the second round. This is a matchup I just wanted to get the hell out of the way because I think Twisted Metal 3 Hammerhead might be the worst car, maybe one of the worst car of the original 4 games. There's literally no benefit to this vehicle whatsoever, and you have a character in Super Axle that is one of the strongest of its game. It is disgustingly armored up. The special move leaves you in a fire state. It doesn't handle too bad, and when it comes to deciding a winner, this was an easy, clean sweep for myself, the AI, and pretty much every tier list I saw. Easy dub for Axel. This is one of the toughest matchups of the first round here in the East bracket. Twisted Metal 2, Spectre, and Warthog going at it. Now, I personally think both of these cars are really strong in that game. My personal nod goes to Warthog. I ran this through my AI a couple of times and the tier list and everything. Very, very even draw for both of these cars. The AI finally edged out Warthog in the tier list. Although very, very torn between the two, it ended up going to Warthog as well. This is the final match of the first round here. We have Twisted Metal 4 Minion, the weakest version of all the minions, still a very strong car, against Twisted Metal 3 Spectre. This car in some tier list is considered to be one of the best vehicles of that game. It's one of the fastest cars of the series, especially in Twisted Metal 3. I did a couple of kind of like guesstimations on what could happen here, especially seeing as Twisted Metal 4 Minion is the 2 seed in this bracket. My personal vote goes to Minion. AI, in several versions of an outcome, went with Spectre 3 with an upset here. And most tier lists I saw gave Spectre and Minion a lot of respect at times, but the stronger car of the two, people were kind of negotiating which one would kind of be better for their games. Spectre in the Twisted Metal 3 engine seems to hold up better than a lot of the other cars from that upside down bullshit that they had in that game. I think, Minion is a really, really strong vehicle still, especially in Twisted Metal 4, but the tier list decided Spectre gets the win here with the first major upset of this entire Twisted Metal bracket. Kicking off the second round of the East bracket, you have Outlaw Twisted Metal 1 advancing against the boss of that game, Minion. Now, it's tough to say. There are mods that allow you to play as Minion. Very good character, especially with the ram damage aspect of this matchup. I mean, I just don't see, in my personal opinion, how Outlaw would really last. Canonically in the series, Outlaw wins this Twisted Metal, but from this standpoint, I mean, I don't think it happens. AI convincingly said Minion dominates this matchup. And in most tier lists, I mean, even Outlaw is listed as like a mid-tier character of that game. It's got enough armor to withstand some of the bigger cars and the ram damage stuff. But overall, I mean, this is pretty much a walk through the park here for Minion. So we have another just brutal matchup here. Second round, Twisted Metal 3 Club Kid, Twisted Metal 2 Warthog. This is one of those ones I had a lot of trouble deciding on. Again, Club Kid for Twisted Metal 3 in a lot of people's tier list is extremely, extremely powerful character. I think that's a game where ram damage doesn't really matter a whole lot. Overall, though, its speed and armor, handling and stuff is good, but it's not exceptionally great to where it's ranked almost the same as what Warthog would be in Twisted Metal 2. Looking at them, they're very even. To be honest with you, I just personally like Warthog better, especially just from if this gets sloppy. Club Kid I think would do a lot of damage, especially with its special moves, but depending on how quickly they generate and how hard Warthog can hit, I'm going with Warthog. This was one the AI refused to pick a winner several times over until I finally got it to spit me out an answer, and it finally did. But first of all, I want to talk about the tier list. From a tier list perspective, Club Kid is usually one of the highest vehicles, but in this instance, Warthog got the AI win. It finally gave me a decisive winner. It wasn't convincing, but Club Kid is going to take the L in this one. Huge second round matchup here. This is Mr. Zombie Twisted Metal 4 against Super Axel Twisted Metal 4. A matchup of a game people have varying opinions of. Now, when it comes to the tier list of these matchups, these guys are pretty much dead even when it came to tier lists for the most part. A lot of people put these guys high A, S tier. Rob Zombie's such a strong starter vehicle, and Axel comes out with such huge pool of armor. The special move, both of them do, flame damage at the end. I think overall, Rob Zombie has the better special with that like kind of lock in place flame head. The car handles a little bit better, and I think a lot of tier list gave this advantage to Rob Zombie. The AI, again, in most situations, it came to the conclusion that Super Axel would come out on top. And for me, when it came to fighting these characters in game, I always hated this Axel matchup because it felt like it took me so long to beat on this dude before he finally caved. Super Axel is one of my favorite characters from Twisted Metal 4. Rob Zombie is a super duper strong car. In another bracket, this guy's easily making it to the top 16, but against Super Axel, I'm going Super Axel. Another really tough matchup between very similar archetype vehicles. Twisted Metal 2 Twister, Spectre, Twisted Metal 3. There's a lot of things tier list wise for Spectre, and especially Twister, that really kind of sway me from my vote from one way or the other. The tier lists are clearly in Spectre's favor. A lot of people have Twister as one of the worst cars in that game. I don't agree with that. I think the car is absolutely insane if it's used correctly, but I think just from a general standpoint, it's easier to use Spectre versus a car like Twister, to where you have to be in your opponent's face to deal damage with that really good special move. Spectre is also a car that, when I went to the AI, you're talking about an Indy car versus a Dodge Viper. This was a clear definitive advantage from a speed and handling benefit for the Indy car, but again, with Spectre's missile type, I think that swayed the AI into picking Spectre, and it was bold enough to say that Spectre would win 8 out of 10 times, which I don't agree with, but my personal vote in this matchup also was for Spectre. So after the first day of competition, Minion, Twisted Metal 1, as expected, climbs his way to the Sweet 16 along with Twisted Metal 2 Warthog They're going to square off. You have Twisted Metal 4 Axel, who had to overcome a tough Rob Zombie, and Twisted Metal 3 Spectre, who did the ultimate upset in round 1 against a second seeded Twisted Metal 4 Minion, so they'll square off here next. The rest of the bracket will be coming soon. We'll get ourselves the Sweet 16 and down to the Elite 8, Final 4, and so on. So stay tuned for that.